Can you hear me?
Can hear you. Great. All right, that's everybody on. Okay, so I'm going to put together, I'm doing a little presentation for mainly for Doug and Nick to be able to see what this job encompasses. And they can kind of decide if this is what they want to try to move forward and getting training and get into this field. This isn't so much training, but it is good for a good little presentation, get a taste of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go into detail about what I'm doing for this specific job. What I'm going to do is try my best to give an overview of what I'm doing in the job for the clients, for myself, and what the job looks like. Okay. So if something doesn't make sense and you have a question, try to think, do you not understand why I'm doing something for the job? Or do you not understand something that doesn't pertain to, like, just pertains to this specific thing that I'm doing right now? You know what I mean? If it's not a huge overarching deal, then maybe save that question for later. We don't need four people asking questions all the time. So if I need to slow down, let me know. If I'm not speaking loud enough, let me know. So yeah. Everybody make sense?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So this job is what I'm going to show you right now is a title survey. Title surveys are the bread and butter of this job. They're about 80% of what we're going to be doing. So a title survey, the purpose of a title survey is to provide a title company with proof that a property is where it says it is by verifying its recorded description of the property's limits against what it's against where it actually is out in the world, along with assuring that no improvements are permanent structures like buildings, concrete, walkways, fountains, underground pools, anything permanent to a property. Those things that you've implemented into your property didn't break any rules that were set for the property at the time of buying it. So this is done by sending a field crew out into the field. Everyone can see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. This is done by sending a field crew out to this and to go take measurements of where things are in the property relative to each other and relative to the property boundary, and so then everybody knows exactly where everything is. I'll give you this information now. This is a little extraneous, but it is kind of pertinent. The way they do this is by going and taking an instrument that looks like this. It looks like this. So they have like this. They have this thing that follows. You can see this guy in the back. He's got a rod. This thing is set up at a spot and takes measurements and distances and angles until it sees where this is at. So for instance, if this guy was to measure this parking lot, he would set up his thing. He'd set it up right. He'd set it up right here. He would then travel with his rod and go stand here. And what that thing is going to measure is the angle from north. And this is extraneous. And if you don't understand this, that's fine, but whatever. It measures the angle, this angle here to here, and the distance. And so he can then go through and take measurements of whatever he wants to take measurements of. He'll say where these paint stripes are, or where this wall is, or where this lamppost is, and all these things. He can make measurements like that. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. So 10180, this is an actual job that I've done, gotten paid for, and whatever. So a surveyor did go out and take measurements, and these are the things that he got. Okay, so CP are his control points. This is where he put the robot that took those measurements, and it measured the angle and distance to all of these things, which are points that he's named. Obviously, he's named it accordingly. So fence is where a fence is. HC is a house corner. It's where a house corner is. Concrete is concrete. And I can help myself make sense of this by going to the field work where he has drawn a sketch. So, okay. Where he's drawn a sketch. So to make this see a little easier. So right here, you can see 0.25 and 0.26 are both HC being house corners. 25 is here and 26 is here on the sketch. If I need to zoom in more, let me know. If I'm moving too fast, let me know. I can see 25 and 26 are here. I can see 38 and 39. These points are also house corners and they're both here. So now I kind of have my bearings on what this property looks like. So I can see that this would be my driveway. This would be a concrete walk. I could see where he has fence shots that goes around, blah, blah, blah. I don't expect you to see this right now, but anyway, I need to orient myself with this. So I'm going to look at this drawing, make sure that I understand there's an electric meter here. There's a cable pedestal in the back. There's an AC. These are all things I'm going to have to draw later. He's also taken pictures of the property. Already pulled up property here on Google Maps. This is very normal. You can see where it's at. This is an aerial view, and having street view ready just to be able to see it is good too. But this pictures that he took is pictures that he took when he did the survey, and that's what we care about. We care about what it looks like the day of the survey, not the day that Google sent its car to drive by. You see his AC, you see the wood fence, you see the cable pedestal, you see the house, and the electric meter that he shot. You can see there's covered concrete. Right now, I'm just sitting here soaking information. Right, he's taking a picture right here of this is an iron rod that's buried in the ground, looks about half a foot under. These iron rods dictate property corners. Most property corners in Texas are dictated by iron rods. It's just a piece of rebar in the ground. And so he goes through and finds these so he can find where property corners are. And so he's found at least two because he's taken two pictures. So, okay, I've now spent some time ordering myself with this property. Now I'm going to start drawing it. So like I said, the purpose of a title survey, which is what this is to make sure that everything is within the property, and also that improvement. So I know where the property is by these property corners that he shot, and also making sure that all of the improvements on it are not breaking rules. With that in mind, I'm going to start drawing the house. So I know that 38, 39 connect. I'm going to draw 38 and 39. I know that 25 and 26 connect. This is the wrong layer, sorry. 1 second. So what I'm doing right now, you can see he has a shot from 39 and 27. You can see that the building doesn't actually go straight from 39 to 27. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try my best to interpret what he got. There's a 0.3 offset. That's what this is. If you can't read it, that's fine. I mean, if you don't understand that, that's fine. You don't need to right now. There's a 0.3 offset, and the offset is 0.9 feet from the end of it. So I'm going to just make that happen through commands that, if you watch the video that I sent you before, you'll have access to all these commands, and know what they're doing. Right now, you don't need to. And I'm fixing some things that I should have fixed in the first place. Oh, good. Okay, so drawing this house. Now what I'm going to do, you can see here at the front, he has measurements of what the house does, but he doesn't have shots for me to connect the dots with, right? So I'm going to have to draw those the best that I can. That would be a 1.1 foot, 0.3 feet, 7.4 feet. So I'm here and I'm going this way. I'm at 0.27 and I'm going this way following this. So I'm going 1.1, 3.3 up, 7.0 or 0.3 down, 1.1. Everybody follow?
Yeah.
Everybody else?
Yeah.
Okay. So going down 0.3, 1.1, 0.3 up, 8.6 over. Now, what's happening is you can see that I was supposed to have landed on point 34 with the 8.6 measurement. This measurement from what he actually measured with his laser that is super accurate, and what he measured with all these measurements come from like a measuring tape. You can see that those have a discrepancy of about 0.1, and so that's 0.1 of a foot. That's 1.2 inches. This is a problem for sure. He's saying that I now have two locations for where something should be. If now, is this a huge problem considering what the title company wants to know is where the property line is and where if anything breaks any rules. If the front of this house corner is 1.2 inches this way or 1.2 inches this way, has no bearing on what the title company is worried about. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend time worrying about this. Does that make sense? It's not a big deal. No one's going to go out and take a tape measurer against the drawing that I gave them and say, because we do give 2-scale drawings, and they're not going to measure that. They're going to go, hey, this doesn't look like this. And absolutely no one cares. So I'm not going to spend time doing that. And so that in and of itself right there is what we bring to the table of drafting. That is drawing up this house. Although we have real information for this, I'm going to make it look good and presentable because that is my job. So anyway, moving on, I'm going to finish up this house. This is a 3-foot offset for this building corner. This goes from 32, 31. Now he doesn't have a shot for me here, so I'm going to again draft and interpret where that's supposed to be. I want that to be right there. Makes sense to me. He gave me a measurement of 20.4. Whatever I made up is actually 20.4 on the dot. So that's good. Now I need to finish up this house. I need to draw this wall, and this wall. I don't have any shots here for that. So what I can do is try to build exactly like I said to his measurements. What I want to do at first is just make it as pretty as I can. What I'm going to do is put an 18.1 foot offset. You can see right here at the bottom, if you haven't noticed yet, these are the commands that I'm putting in. He gave me 18.1 feet off of this wall, starts this one. So I'm going to go 18.1 feet off of this wall, should give me this point. So I'm going to go here to here. This, because I copied this line, makes this one parallel. I try to keep all the walls on the building parallel. And now I've made up this property corner. I mean, not property, this building corner. I can check if it's accurate enough. I got a delta, I got a length 51.25. He gave me a measurement of 51.5, a quarter of a foot. So what is that, 3 inches? 3 inches off of where this corner is. If this building does end up breaking a rule later based off this corner, I'll know, okay, maybe I need to actually fix this to be what he actually measured to make it work. But that's not going to happen. I promise you that's not going to happen. So I'm not worried about it. Now I am done drawing the building, and you can kind of see the perimeter of the building. I cannot, in this building, and I know it's a building because it's on the building layer. I'm now done drawing the building. So I'm going to start drawing concrete. So I'm going to move to my concrete layer. So anything that's in concrete, I'm going to draw in concrete. Now I'm going to come from my assumed building corner to this, which is over here. And you can see that he shot the concrete to go in behind the house. That doesn't make sense because this should be the wall of the house. Because I'm drafting and I'm interpreting, I'm just gonna trim it to make it end at the house because that's what makes sense. This one too, I'm gonna trim that. Since this cover means covered concrete, I'm gonna put this here. That delineates covered concrete. Now I'm going to go up here to draw. This is covered concrete also. And you can see from here to 36, I'm drawing up this sidewalk now. That goes from the driveway to the house. 36 connects to, I can make these a little bigger, I guess. 36 connects to 17, to 18, to 19, to 20, to 21. So as you can kind of tell right now, I'm literally just playing connect the dots. Right, as long as I know which dots to connect, I can do it. And I just make it look good and I have it make sense. 15, 16, 35. Now you can see in his drawing, 35 connects to 31. Say something if you think that looks pretty. Exactly, I don't think it looks pretty. I think that looks prettier. So I'm going to draw that. That makes more sense to me. And you can actually see like that's what the house, he took a picture of it. If this wants to cooperate. Right here. You can see the concrete was built perpendicular. It doesn't go back to the corner. It does go sideways. So again, I think that's prettier. I want to draw that. I don't want to present something that looks like that because that just doesn't look good. And also nobody cares. I'm gonna double check. I've drawn everything that's concrete on my lot. Any questions so far? Okay. Now I'm going to start drawing my fence. I've only got a fence shot over here. I don't have a point number, but I can assume pretty safely that that is my fence. Usually they give me a distance from the front of the building to where the fence actually is. I don't have that. It's not until it's a problem, it's not a problem. So I'm going to go through and connect all my fence shots. You can see here, he's saying it comes back here. If I keeping it pretty, I want to draw perpendicular and that puts it here. That's not going to happen because that's not where he shows it. So I'm just going to draw that it connects right there. He shows that it then goes to 22 and then it continues on in a direction that he didn't shoot. So I'm just going to draw perpendicular to this line and connect it. I'll make it 5 feet. And there's that. So now it looks like I've gotten most of everything. I haven't addressed this shot. And remember, if you remember, I had an electric meter and an AC, and I do need to draw those, but those are going to be symbols, and that'll be later on. So this, I am done drawing my improvements and my structures. So that's good. This is, you don't need to know what's happening right now. This is, I'm making sure that all of those are independent objects right now. And then now I just block them so they all move together. That's all that means. Okay, so now whoops. Can move all of my data or had it. Okay. Now what I need to do now that I have this is I need to draw up my property lines, or what my property lines are supposed to look like. So that's dictated by my plat. So I'm going to pull up my vesting deed, which is, this is the most current deed that was the current owner of the house. He proves that he has it, and this is the description of the property that he bought. So he bought lot 175 out of block 8 of this subdivision. I have this plat, which is a map, and that plat shows me what lot 175 of block 8 of my subdivision looks like. And what it has on it is bearings and distances and lots of information that help me build what my property is supposed to look like. So pause right there. Everybody sees this line. If you were to describe this line, you could say you're starting here and going northeast, or you could say you're starting here and going southwest. This is the same line though. So going northeast or southwest when you're building it, it's kind of the same, and you'll understand more as you go on. Oh, yay. They removed the 40-minute time limit. That's good. This thing almost got shut off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build out my lot 175 based off these bearings and distances. You can see this reads southeast 35 degrees 24 minutes 39 seconds. Minutes and seconds, you can just imagine that right now as decimal points of a degree. So this is almost 35 and a half degrees. So I'm going to draw this up. Really don't get too focused on understanding this or not. This is one of the most complicated parts of the job, but it's really not that hard. It just takes a little bit of practice. I'm going to start at the corner. Well, actually, I'm going to start here. I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to build my property going this way. I'm going to build around it. So you'll see. We'll start there. I'm going to go, instead of, like I said, southwest is the same thing as northeast. I'm going to go northeast, 54, 35, 21, 55 feet. Northwest, 35, 24, 39, 120 feet, northeast, 4. Okay, and so I've just used the information that the plat has right there to build lot 175, its corners. I can understand if you're confused as to how, but is anybody confused as to why or what this information is representing? Does anyone have any questions?
No.
Okay, cool. Okay, good. Okay. So now that I have, so this map, like I said, represents what my property is supposed to look like. What happens is an engineer designs what it's supposed to look like, and then people go out and place these monumentation that I said my surveyor found in the ground. They go and place these things that can move with construction. Somebody could have measured wrong or whatever. And you can see, well, so what's going to happen is I'm going to assume right now that this rod is perfectly in place where it's supposed to be. And this rod is pretty close to perfect to where it's supposed to be. And that's an assumption. If I assume that both of these rods are perfect, you can see that this rod is 0.38 feet off of being perfect, right? So when they designed it, all of these rods were supposed to be placed in a straight line. This one, when it was placed, is not actually in a perfectly straight line. So my job as a surveyor, like I said, what the title company is worried about, they want to know where the property lines are and where everything on the property is relative to those property lines. My job is to make sure that these things don't cause problems. Depending on who you're working under, will give you they'll give you different answers of how to do it. The first person I worked for would tell me, you have all 4 of your front rods, just align from those and build based off what you've got. The guy I'm working for right now is going to tell me he wants me to do it this. He wants me to assume that my front 2 rods are perfect and build off that. They are both right because we are working for them. It is their stamp. It is their license, and we are operating under their license. So they're the ones that have to defend why a property line is the way it looks. So we have to listen to them. So like I said, the first guy wants me to do it one way. This guy I'm working for now wants me to do it another way. I listen to them and I do my best to accommodate to them what they want, because that's what's important. What they're worried about, let's say that if when they were building this subdivision, the guy put a rod way out here. He absolutely messed it up. And my surveyor found it and it's way out here. What we are trying to do is find rods that we think are good and use them. So if let's assume right now that if I'm going to make an assumption right now that my front right, or I guess it's front left, whatever, my southwest rod is correct, and this rod was correct, I would immediately see that this property that this is a bad rod. If I were to use it, look at what my fence does. It now does not follow my property line. It puts my building so close to my property. This would cause problems for people, right? I hope this makes sense. This is not a good alignment. So you will spend probably the next year learning how to find out which rods are good and which ones are bad, and how to move forward proceeding. That's enough on that. That is the most complicated part of the job anyway. I'm gonna say for now, for instance, that these rods are good. So rods determine, your rod is your property corner, even if, so like my plat says these were supposed to be 55 feet apart. Because this rod is actually 54.57 feet apart, my property is actually 54.47 feet wide. I have to make my property that long. So I'm going to, because your property isn't determined by ideas, like it's supposed to be this long, it's determined by these rods. So this is what the property actually does. Now you can see I've got a discrepancy back here. This is now a resolution. I've got, one way it said that my property corner is supposed to be here. One way it says it's supposed to be here. My fence, things I'm going to start taking into consideration, things like the fence or the building or whatever, to say where I'm going to put a property line. I'm just going to make it in there. I'm going to bring this here. And this looks good. Okay, so I have now determined through experience or asking my higher ups or whatever, what my property is supposed to look like. I can now move forward. I'm going to, the way that this is presented is by putting it into, actually I skipped a step, is by putting it into a PDF. So if I've got a property, imagine my property were this big, right? I have to, if I'm going to show it to scale, I either need a really, really big piece of paper or I need a smaller scale. So that's what I'm doing right now, is determining the scale. Most of my information that I want to fit in here can fit in this, which is supposed to correlate with this PDF that I'm going to make, so that I can present it at a 20 scale, a 1 to 20 scale. 1 inch of this PDF represents 20 feet in real life. And so right now, this is a really, really basic preview of what this PDF is going to look like. And this is how it's presented. Okay. So now that I know that, now that I know I'm going to be at 20 scale, which actually does determine a lot. Now I can start pasting my symbols. And I want this giant thing in front of my work gone. I'd like to know where I'm at. Okay. So symbols that I'm going to put on, I know I had a cable pedestal, an electric meter, and an AC. So I'm going to come over here, grab the AC symbol, electric meter symbol, and the cable pedestal symbol. I guess I could just go like right here. And now I can place these where they're going to go. Does this make sense? So I can go to my drawing. He took a measurement. The electric meter is 4.3 feet from the back. So I'm going to place it approximately 4.3 feet. He said 16.6 feet off the back. To make it look pretty, I'm going to align this with the house. Give it some space. There's that. And now I just start adding in the information. So if you go into Carlson, you're not going to do it this way. I'm using the program you're watching me in right now. It's called Civil 3D, and it is the big daddy of drafting. Shoot. Sorry, give me 1 second. So it allows me to do some pretty nice commands that make editing things a lot easier. As I'm saying that, it's bugging out and not. Do it. Okay, I'm going to restart the thing. There it is. Yeah. And this is normal for all drafting programs. They crap out pretty quick. This hasn't done it to me in a while, so I don't know why it's choosing to do so now. But anyway. Any questions so far?
No.
Nope.
It's good.
So on the PDF, I see that whenever you had first pasted it up there, a lot of the work was behind some words. Does that matter whatsoever? You know what I'm talking about?
A lot of the work was behind some words.
Yeah, whenever you were showing us the
viewport.
document that it was going on to, you showed us the document it was going on to, and what you have drawn up was behind a bunch of
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, that'll be fixed later for sure.
Oh, all right. You were just kind of trying to use it as you were showing us the scale that it needed to fit somewhere on that page.
Yeah. Freaking dang it. Forgot about this. Whatever. This isn't that big of a deal. So I need to put on information about my property. One of the things, especially that they care about, is obviously what your property looks like, and the measurements of your property lines. So I need to do this in a presentable fashion and in a regulated way. Whenever I am drawing up my property, I go clockwise. So if I'm starting here, I can go northwest, northeast, southeast, southwest. I then have I'm showing. So what's happening right now is I'm showing my property lines as they exist in the real world and what I came up with. So I'm saying this is what the bearing and distance actually is right now versus this that I drew up earlier, which was what it was supposed to be, right? Ignore this. I have to tell them against that what it was supposed to be. So I do that by pulling data from what it was before. So you can see right now my property line before I hit it, it was southwest 55 degrees 22 minutes 38 seconds, whereas it's supposed to be south 54 degrees 35 minutes 21 seconds. So there's discrepancy, and that's why I'm making that. So I'm going through shoot.
So you're showing what it actually is in the real world versus what it says on paper it's supposed to be.
Correct. Yeah. So we call that field versus record.
Okay.
And that's to cover our butts. That's to, because we are saying, hey, this is wrong. And whatever. So I can go do that. I can go do that for all of my property lines. And that way I have the proper data. Now I have all of my objects annotated. Let's see. So I actually have a workflow right here. I'm still using, so bear with me. So I did that. Did that. Now I'm going to label the properties around me. Like I said, your property lines are dictated by where other people's property starts and ends. If that makes sense. So you have to be able to, you have to show what properties are around you that are dictating yours. So I have to say, this is lot 174, block, what are we, 8?
Yep.
Block 8. Lot 176, block 8. I also have to show my street information, which I am Ridge Drive. I can check what this says I'm Serene Ridge Drive. Did my plat actually say Serene Ridge Drive? It does. It says Serene Ridge Drive. So I am on Serene Ridge Drive. Right of way means how wide this road is. That's a 30, that's a 30, so that's a 60. This is a 60-foot ROW is right of way. And this is the recording information. Where did I get this information from? I got it from my plat, which is, you can find that in volume 9508, page 24 of deed and plat records. I'm now going to make it look pretty and have it aligned with my road. It's not even perfect, but who cares? So I've got that. Now I can label my improvements. Don't need this anymore, so I can take. Now I need to label all these things for people like you who don't know what this stuff is. So this is a concrete walk. This is another concrete walk. I can pull up my information. I need to show what the house is. He did not give me a description of what my house is. So this is a 1-story residence. That looks like brick and plank to me. Yeah, that's brick and plank. And is it on a concrete slab? I can't see a concrete slab, but I promise you it is. Oh,
There was one picture where you could see that it was on a concrete slab.
Okay. Yeah, they usually are. This is covered concrete. This when presented, you'd have words with lines going through it. That doesn't look good. So I'm going to deal with that. I'm pretty much at the spot right now where I'm making everything look pretty. And I don't know if that you will very much get judged by grown men on how pretty your drawing is. Not judged, but you will be told your drawing does not look pretty. What the hell are you doing? I don't know. Not actually. It's just I forget that I'm going to be showing this to people later on, so I can't talk like that. But yeah, you will be. This doesn't look right. You need to go fix it, make it look right. So there. And now we've got concrete here, so on and so forth. So I'd go through labeling the things that need labeling. Things such as if you've got covered brick, covered stone, if you've got a pool, if you've got a deck, if you've got all these things that people might not be sure of what they are, then there's that. Here you can see that if this is my printed area, you won't actually be able to see that. So I need to be able to address that by pulling this over. The symbol for that is a found iron rod. So I'm going to paste that here within the viewing area. I'll trim this line. And this is a break line saying, I'm sure you know, does anyone not know what a break line is?
I don't.
Okay, so this is saying, this is an
Oh, I get-
exaggeration.
yeah, it
This
makes-
is an
okay, it
exaggeration
makes
of
it-
where this actually goes.
Gotcha.
Whereas because I'm not showing anything here or here, and this line doesn't actually show anything, I don't need a break line for that. But this is showing information that I do need to show. So there's that. Okay, so now we've got, this is relatively labeled. It's not enough to be able to turn in. And so now, when I was speaking earlier about the title company cares about where your property is, where things are relative to the property, and if those things break rules, now I have to go check the rules. The title company themselves will tell you what documents are recorded as rules. And so those are called restrictions. And they are found in a title commitment. This is 10180, I think. Yes. And the title commitment. So title commitment is issued by a title company, and they tell me what all of my rules are. So I go through and I pull information. So title, this is actually happening because Colleen Dragoo is buying this house, and you need title insurance on it. So I have to fill in who's buying it, the address, the title company. I have to fill in information. So like this legal description of the land, I'd literally just copy this and paste it into here to make sure that everyone knows that we're all talking about the same property. But what I'm going to go deal with right now is finding the restrictions, also known as the rules, that are on this property. Here's all of my, here's notes that could pertain to this drawing. Right now, this one is actually done one way and not the other. So I don't need the other note. The plat is legible. I don't need that. I don't need all of this stuff. I was given a commitment and it does have plottable. I don't have. Okay, who cares? I'm not going to go through it. I don't need any of this other stuff. So this is where I'm going to list what rules the title company is saying affect my property. They're going to be, the rules are going to be recorded in volume that and that of these records. So this is a document that's in volume 3322, page 1296 of real property records, Bexar County, Texas. Now I need to go find what those are. So I'm going to go online because this is Bexar County, county I work in a lot. This is not my work. This is one that I work in a lot. I have where to pull this information. The county clerk is where official records are stored. I'm going to look up volume 3322, page 1296. I'm going to find restrictions. I'm going to download it. It's free. 10810. Okay, 10180. Put it in here. Oh, do I already have it? I already have it. But you do need to download it. You do need to save it so that people who are checking you later, because you will be checked, every single one of your jobs are going to be checked, to make sure that you got everything right. We need to have access to it too. So now I'm going to go through and I'm going to read these. This is called the covenant conditions and restrictions. These are very standard on most of your lot and blocks. These are usually made off like a template, so you usually know where to look. Starting off, if boundary resolution is the hardest thing surveyors do, the next hardest thing would be going through and reading these to make sure that you aren't breaking any of these rules. So you will have to understand what you're reading and go through this entire document. As you do more and more of it, it will become a lot easier, and you'll know where to look, and you'll know what to ignore, what doesn't pertain to you, whatever. There's actually only 1 or 2 paragraphs in this thing, that do pertain to me. This one right here, this no building shall be located on a residential building lot near to the front property line, the building setback line, as shown on the recorded plat. So this says, so that is the rule that pertains to me as a surveyor. I care where buildings are in relation to property lines. What I don't care about is I don't care about if it's a single family dwelling or a private garage, this, that. Like I can't do anything about that. I can do, or I can't oh, look at that, there's another one. That does actually pertain to me. Yeah, I can't do anything about animals, livestock, poultry of any kind shall be raised, bred, or kept on any lot. Like I don't have that information. So that does not pertain to me. And like I said, you'll find things that do. So this says, read the plat and you'll find restrictions. So I'm going to go find the plat, which you should do anyway. I'm not doing it because it says so. And the plat itself shows a 20-foot building setback line. So I'm going to offset my property line. I'll work here. Offset my property line by 20 feet. Building setback lines, I don't know if you remember me talking about them earlier, are on a layer. So I'll put that line on the building setback layer, and I'm going to label it a "20-foot building setback line," as I got that information from my plat. And this is how I've gone through. I've found a rule for my property, and now I've shown it in a useful manner to be displayed. And we can see if this is a building setback line, my building does not cross my building setback line, so my property has not broken a rule. So when I was talking earlier about if this, say for instance, I promise you this has like a 5-foot setback line. Say for instance, when I was building this building however I wanted and then checking, it's kind of close to what he has. If for instance, this property corner, this building corner ended up being like out here, then I would go and make sure, hey, am I actually drawing this exactly how he tells me? Or I would tell him, hey, this could be a problem. I want an exact shot of where this is. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense now. What I was saying, if this breaks a rule, I'll go back and check it. It doesn't, and I know it's not going to, so it's not that big of a deal. So anyway, there's that. I'll go through this again. This says per plat, no driveway should be constructed, no fence, no obnoxious or offensive types. Like I can't do anything with that. I don't care about oil. I can't do anything about this one. No building shall be located 5 feet to any interior side lot line or nearer than 10 feet to the side street lot line. So that I'm going to show 5 feet to my sidelines, make them setback lines, trim them off because this is what it looks like. I'm going to copy this, make it 5 feet. And I got this information from document 3322, page 1296. And I'm going to, guess what? And make it pretty. There. And here, actually, that doesn't look pretty. I'm going to do like that, because having this one here and this one there, that doesn't look good. That looks better. I might actually even make these like perpendicular, whatever. Presentation cares. Go through the rules, make sure there are no more rules. We also care about easements. Nearer than 5 feet over that. So because this is also 5 feet, I'm going to erase these because easements override building setbacks. I'm going to put it on an easement layer. And now I need to annotate it again because this is a building setback line. This is also a utility and drainage easement. Utility and drainage easement. I'll do the same thing for this. And utility and drainage easement. Because I just made that up, I need to make sure that the client knows what that means. Utility and drainage easement is right here. I'll put that in my legend. Okay, so that's enough. You will continue to go through, make sure you're not breaking any of the rules, um, and mark it if and when it is pertinent. I will then need to come in here. I've addressed my notes, so I've gotten all my notes in order. That pertain to this property. I now need to check FEMA, which is flood. Make sure that I'm not in a flood zone. So this property is what is the address of the property? It is right here. Go to the FEMA website. Really hope it works right now. It doesn't want to work. I've done it before. So when it worked, it pulled up this information, which I'm going to put into my drawing. Yeah, now it wants to work. Now I already have it. I'm going to put that information here. And this is just saying, this is flood studies to make sure that nothing was in your property is not going to flood if it rains really hard. It's pretty much what we're sharing here. Because these people did the study, fill this information out and put it in. After that, I'm going to put in a picture of the property to put it here because it looks nice. And I'm going to consolidate my legend. I also had wood fences in here. And I'm going to place the legend where they can see it. Somewhere around here. I want this to be like, how about right there. And I'd go through and I'd fill out 106, 10180. The crew that did this was Luno. It was done on the date from the date that it was filled out was or actually it was Daniel. Doesn't matter. 6/15/2021. I did the boundary and I'd go fill out all this and then I'd print it. And you have your survey.
To be clear, you're printing that as a PDF. We're not going to be printing these at our houses.
Yeah, it's a PDF. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff wrong with this. You'd take these and show if this is an iron rod, like you showed. There's an iron rod out here. You put it on all your corners to show it. We'd have set iron rods in the back and symbols for that. You actually edit all of your bearings and make sure that they're right. You move things so that lines aren't going through text. You wouldn't have your points showing like that. So let's see. Actually, that's what it's supposed to look like. This is what we turned in. So I missed a step. I didn't annotate how far away the fences were from the property lines. That is important information. But this is what a finished job would look like. Like I said, you would show where you're gonna put in monumentation, because when they order survey and they want to know where the property is, if we couldn't find monumentation in the back, we'd go put it there. We fill out all the information that I said. You have the information here. And there were some other rules that I'm not going to go through that this was subject to. But that is bread and butter of this job. I can do these in less than an hour. And I don't, what was conveyed is that the hardest part is going to be figuring out this property line. And I don't know that it's hard, but it's just tedious going through and reading all of the deeds and the rules to make sure what applies to you. Other than that, this is not hard. You're playing connect the dots, you're labeling concrete, you're labeling your lines. This is a bunch of drawing and labeling. It's I really enjoy doing it because I can kind of turn my brain off until I get to doing property, doing my property lines. Then I have to think, but after that, it's just reading, reading and drawing, and yeah, incredibly not hard. So that being said, any questions?
Why is it sideways? Is that
So this was drawn. This was drawn north being north.
oh, gotcha. Because it's
Right.
like
So it corresponds with the actual
north south.
nation.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Previous places I have aligned it so that it does fit with the paper really well, but then people don't read where the north arrow is pointing, so then they're like, what's happened to my property? But like I said earlier, the company I'm at right now does not rotate to be straight up and down because my RPLS says so. The guy with the license who's running the business, he says so. So I just kind of do it because he says so.
Gotcha.
But all those things are subject to change, just depending on who the boss is at the top. Like what it's just preference for him.
Yeah. I mean, and that's everything. The way that, like I said, these property lines are determined are very different just between one person to the other. And in this field, you can give the same 4 monuments to 5 different people, and you'll have five different looking properties. Because as long as you can justify it and defend it in court well enough, then it doesn't really matter. We as cat techs aren't going to be taken to court. Our surveyor is, and that's why we listen to what he says. He's the one liable for everything that we do. Yeah. Yeah. So there's that. So there's other things that surveying entails. You can do which the 20%, the other 20% is much more complicated jobs. Sometimes there's what did I have it? I don't have it. There's other complicated stuff, but these easy things being 80% of our jobs, you would continue to work on these until you are comfortable, until you showed like you're proficient in these, and then you're able to start taking harder stuff and learning new skills that allow you to do more work. And generally, as you are taking on those new skills and you provide and improve proficiency in them, it directly corresponds with your pay. When I started at my first job, they gave me a raise once I proved that I could put out 8 of these a day, because that's what they wanted. They didn't want me to do hard work. They just wanted me to do a lot of it. So I got a raise once I mean, it was 25 cents. Those scumbags, but I mean, that's how it works. I got good at something and they gave me a raise for it. I learned how to do more challenging surveys. So whereas like you have contour lines that show elevation of a property, like so this line represents 100 feet, this line represents 101 feet, 102 feet, and 103 feet. So that would mean that the property is sloping down. Does that make sense? topographic map. Have you? Here, I'll show you a topographic map. You ever seen a topographic map like these?
Yeah.
I've seen one. I don't really know what it means.
That's exactly what it means. So each line that you're seeing represents an elevation, and where that line starts and ends, you can kind of imagine what's happening in between it, right? So
Oh, when you said it was sloping down, it's like on a hill or something.
yeah. So when I was saying
Uh,
this line represents 100 feet, this line represents 101 feet, 102, and 103, you can think of that like this, where
it's going. Okay.
yeah. So this is 100 feet. That's 101, 100, and whatever. So we make those. I have made these before for City of Austin. The one that I made was my company charged $200,000 for a huge job like that. The way that I want to be able to charge clients that we make those for would be commission based. And be able to pay my techs who I've trained to be able to make these things would also be commission based. So we get they get a $200,000 job. You best believe we're going to be taking $25,000 of that, or however it works out, whatever. And this is so if I can get more people, like I can already do these, but if I can get all of you to be able to do these for me, then we can take on more jobs. And now we're all just making a lot more money. Now we don't have to do those small ones, but that's, I mean, y'all are months, maybe even years away from doing those, because it does take a lot. You do need to be able to knock these out well and know what you're doing before you can move on to bigger stuff. So I don't have anything else to share right now, unless there are any more questions.
I'm good.
Okay. Sorry, it wasn't I know it wasn't as in-depth as you wanted, Christian, but I'll be able to I'll walk you through another one.
Oh, yeah, don't worry about me. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I can catch up with each and every one of y'all individually, and we can move forward from there. Unless anyone, like I said, unless anyone has any questions.
I think I'm good.
Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for being here, and I'll catch y'all all later.
Sweet.
Did you say wait, Doug?
No.
Okay.
I do have questions for you, but if not about like what you showed us today.
Yeah, I can talk.
Okay.
I can stop recording this though. Let me see.